Okay, so I think it's about time that we talk about this, because really, Games Workshop have gotten away with this for far too long. So when I say Warhammer 40k, everybody thinks Space Marines. It's just the reality of the situation. We've been saturated with Ultra Space Knight Warriors for a while now, basically since the beginning of 40k. But there are other armies in the game. It might surprise some people to find out. And one of the most neglected, in my opinion, is ironically one that often has the spotlight in a lot of Warhammer extended media and video games, but in kind of more of a position like renowned character actress Margot Martindale, and less like a movie star like, Tom Cruise? Okay, so behind the scenes there, I genuinely wanted to mention a more contemporary actor, but does Hollywood even do movie stars anymore? I mean, I can't just say Iron Man, can I? Anyway, the forgotten love child that we're talking about is, of course, the Orks! I guarantee that if you ask most Warhammer fans, the Orks are high up in their awesome forces list. Orks are just iconic. They're sort of like football meets Mad Max situated in a junkyard wasteland by way of northern England. They are my fourth favorite army in Warhammer 40k. Which is to say, they're very cool, but it's not really a fair fight for them, because also the Dark Eldar, Genestealer cults, and Sisters of Battle also exist, and that's a really rough kind of ranking system there. There's some good armies you gotta beat. Sometimes I like to think of Orks as everyone's favorite army that they don't play, but more people should, because Orks are a ton of fun. And I spent the first couple of years in the war game hobby, getting my ass kicked by an opponent who exclusively played Orks. But, it never detracted from my love of Orks. I'm still a big fan of them. I mean, what other army can deploy a giant ramshackle bloke with a chainsaw for an arm and huge exhaust pipes pumping out the back of it? I mean, these things are mobile statues, and for a lot of Ork players, part of the fun is in building these types of customizable models and finding imaginative ways to create what really are pretty bizarre monstrosities. They're just an incredibly exciting miniature range, and they have a huge amount of scope for interesting models, which brings us to what I want to talk about, because I'm very disappointed with what Games Workshop have recently done with Orks. So in 2021, the Orks got a massive range refresh. This resulted obviously in price rises across the board, but it also had some genuinely bizarre decision making on the part of Games Workshop. So I want you to put yourself in this position. You want to start an Ork army. It's not hard to imagine, okay? I'm sure we've all flirted with the idea in the past. And you really dig Orks, because who doesn't? So you go to your local Games Workshop store. You insist on building an Ork force. And this is where a lot of us might get stopped though, because, well, the classic Warhammer problem is that they're expensive. They're really costly to buy. I know that kind of goes without saying a little bit. It's kind of obvious, but I really mean it with Orks. It's very, very expensive. 10 Ork boys, the lowliest of Orks, cost $50 for 10. Okay, so one of them is a knob, but really, I mean, who cares? Overall, that Ork squad is worth 80 points. 80 points in a game where the standard force size is 2,000. That means that if you are somebody like me and you want a troop-centric army, then you're gonna want lots of Orks, okay? And that means plenty of dollary dingoes. Sorry, I didn't mean to convert the USD to Australian dollars there, but either way, you get it. But even worse than that, Orks have been burdened with one of the most bizarre redesigns that I have ever seen, and I've seen a lot of weird stuff. Yep, kinda wish I could forget about that. You see, the standard Ork boy troop kit was redone in 2021 by Games Workshop as part of that range refresh, and they basically gutted the Ork troops kit and turned the new versions into more of a kind of funhouse mirror version of a competent troops kit. So Orks traditionally, they roam with either melee weapons or assault guns, choppers or shooters. That's the basic choice that all Ork boys must determine. And Games Workshop decided that in their infinite wisdom, instead of allowing players to build either all choppers or all shooters, the new Ork boys kit would instead come with a mix of both. But not enough Orks with either to fill an entire squad. So no matter what happens, if you buy the newest Ork boys kit, you will always get 5 chopper boys and 3 shooter boys. this is a troop composition which no one in the history of the universe has ever done before. It doesn't make any sense, not even for an orc. Why would anyone build their orc boy squad like this? Orcs with assault guns like to do the daka shooting. Orcs with melee weapons like to do the crump and smash. You can't mix crumpin with daka, even orcs have standards. Not to mention that this is a squad that can have 9 to 29 orcs in it, and you get 3 shooter boys in the box. So if you want 29 shooter boys, then you gotta buy 10 boxes. So for 30 orcs of 280 points, you would need to spend $500. That's a lot of dollary dingoes. This is a huge mistake. Obviously, no one should be paying $500 for 30 orcs equipped with the weapons they want. And Games Workshop, to their credit, did sort of acknowledge this a little because they didn't replace the old Orc Boys kit with the new one. So even they knew it was kind of trash. But that kind of sucks because the new Orc kit looks okay and the orcs deserve to have a really cool modern kit. They deserve models that are good, modern, and also, you know, customizable and functional, I guess. Functional, it's not even customization, it's function. So, the new Orc Boys kit, bad deal, to say the least. So, what do we do? Well, here's a new deal. Don't pay $50 for 10 awkward orc boys. Pay instead $10 for some of the greatest orc models on the internet. Or $6 if you're a Discourse Miniatures patron. What? That's right, I've been hard at work down in the internet mines trawling the web for independent mini manufacturers, modelers, sculptors, 3D STL sellers, and creators. And this is the first in a series of videos where I spotlight those creators. That's right, you thought you were getting a criticism against Workshop, instead you're getting some positive hobby content. And every single month, I will be honing in on a store with my beady little eyes and talking about what makes that particular seller so exciting to me. But not only that, but Patreon members of my channel will get bonus discount codes for those featured stores every single month, like a rotating carousel of discount prices for the sexiest models on the internet. Oh yeah, we're doing a circus of value up in here.
Welcome to the Circus of Value!
So this month, we are kicking off with Orks with Blue Sky Minis, and my patrons get 40% off the entire store for the month of January. So if you like what you see here, then check out patreon.com/Discourse Miniatures before the 31st, where you can get that code for the Blue Sky Mini store. And I have to say, firstly, that this store has some of the coolest Orc Boys models around. Now, this is an STL store, so you'll need to either arrange for these to be bought 3D printed or 3D print them yourselves, but they look incredible. I mean, look at these bad boys. Get it? These are the Gunner boys, and every single one of them has a little commando beret. Yes! Orcs with hats. I finally have the dream. Not only that though, but you can buy fully melee equipped orcs as well, and they look super dynamic. They're in like a sprinting run because orcs are always trying to get towards the fight. And they look a lot better than those older kind of models. You know, the ones that you'll need to buy if you want a functional kit from Games Workshop. You know that one? Yeah, these look a ton better and they're a lot cheaper, especially with that discount code. But I gotta say, it is some of the more unique models that have really captured my attention. I mean, after all, we are dealing with orcs here, which means there's plenty of scope for madness. So orcs have always been synonymous with pirates. Don't ask me why, I'm actually not sure. I guess it's because of the freebooters, but Blue Sky Minis have gone all in on the pirate motif with the beastie boat. And this is essentially a land ship. It's got what appears to be almost like a shark with metal legs dragging around a pirate ship. It's absolutely fantastic, I love it. It absolutely makes for a fantastic centerpiece. I adore the little psyker that they've got strapped to the mast like a seal. It's just incredible. There's a ton of imagination that has gone into this product. But not only that, there's also the Beastie Launcher, which looks fantastic. It's basically a car with a giant cannon that shoots squigs out of it. What's not to love? Although, I gotta say, probably the coolest model in the list is Snake Rot, and there will be no prizes for guessing who this is based on. So this is the sneaky boss. He's a commando, and you can tell because he has the ultimate stealth form. It is, of course, a cardboard box. I think the orc hiding in a cardboard box is probably one of my favorite tropes ever. The fact that Blue Sky Minis have gone all in and just made this a solid snake riff is just incredible to me. Plus, there's actually a little bit of customization here too. I gotta say, is this the first time I've ever seen an orc with a beard? I think it might be. I didn't know that orcs could get facial hair. It could be like extra fungal growth, I guess. Sexy. But it's not just the orcs that have all the fun here. There are tons of gobbos as well. There is no orc list that is complete without plenty of goblins, let me tell you. This might be just because I personally identify physically with goblins. I absolutely adore these little guys. But these are some of the coolest goblin models I've ever seen. So they look nasty, which is what I kind of like. I get that goblins are often portrayed as very comic reliefy, but I actually do like my goblins be kind of a little bit nasty with a little bit of fun, So the goblin squads here sold by Blue Sky Minis. You can see they've got a huge variety of poses. They're totally modular as well, so you can put on hands to arms. You can fit it around as you want. One of them has an Uzi. These are really, really fun. They really are. And of course, we are all talking about the Commissar right now. We are, of course, talking about him, and that Commissar is obviously Garrick the Goblin, right? That's who we're talking about. It's Garrick, right? And yeah, if you want a leader for your goblins, this is the guy. I really, really dig this model. In fact, this was the one that first really caught my attention and got me to look deeper into the Blue Sky Minis range. First of all, it's a goblin in a Commissar outfit. What is not to love here? I think this model would actually work for Imperial Guard too. I mean, who's gonna question the Commissar, even if he does look a little bit green? Just an awesome action pose, and instead of a tactical rock, we've got a tactical head. It's hard to get goblins that actually look intimidating, but I think that Garrick the Goblin is rolling with it. And out there on the internet, there is a bunch of pictures showing a proxied Gretchen army that are all designed to play as Imperial Guard, but they're just Gretchen kind of cosplaying as guardsmen. And I've always wanted to make an army like that, and I think Garrick the Goblin would probably be like my version of Commissar Yarrick if I were to ever do that for us. This is a very much an aspirational model for me. But yeah, this store has everything if you're an orc head. There's accessories, there's banner boys, there's orcs riding land sharks, all sorts of different vehicles, tons of like commandos and orc boys and just everything. It's a really awesome store. You should really check them out. I definitely recommend them. And if you do want to check them out, don't forget that there is a 40% discount code for patrons to my channel. So if you go to patreon.com/discoursminiatures, you'll be able to get the discount code there, and that will last until the end of January. So there's not a ton of time left. Sorry, I've been kind of ill last week. I meant to get this video out a little bit earlier. So yeah, these are all extremely cool. And I'm so happy that we live in a world where these independent stores exist because, well, sometimes Papa Games Workshop makes absolutely bizarre decisions like the refreshed Orc Boys kit, which is, let's be honest, probably the worst Warhammer kit ever made. Although it's not their worst execution of an idea. That would be this. And a huge thanks to all my patrons, especially Sonic Bread and Crypto Kev. And I'll catch y'all next time. Bye-bye.